Okay, we're going to get started. Do I need to do a countdown here?
I'm doing the countdown for you now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
All right, you're good to go, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, this is the Painesville Township Board of Zoning Appeals. We're going to call this meeting to order. And now that we're back live, we did not do this for all our remote meetings, but I do ask that those in attendance, we'd like to start with a Pledge of Allegiance. So if you don't mind standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This time, if you take the roll for us, Rachel, members.
Okay, Ken? Present. Randy?
Present.
David Ambrose?
Here.
Dale Lewis?
Here.
Chairman?
Present here. I let the record show the 5 members that are here. At this time, I'm just going to have our legal counsel explain when your case comes up, if you're going to speak, we're going to ask that our legal counsel swear you in, and he'll tell you why he needs to do that. So, Jason, if you would let everyone in attendance know.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Hartzell. I'm the legal advisor for the BZA. Hearings in front of the BZA are considered quasi-judicial in nature. The reason being is that any decision made tonight can be appealed to the county police court. If that were to happen, the transcript of tonight's proceedings will be by the county police court. For that reason, anybody who's giving testimony for or against any variance that we request tonight will need to be sworn in. Each case is called up individually. Raise your right hand, I'll swear you in real quick. We'll be ready to go.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to start. Our first case is 21 BZA 01, which is a continuance of a request. So, Rachel, if you would read this for the record one more time, please.
Okay. Applicant Hema J1 LLC filed a variance application for property located at 880 Oakwood Boulevard. The request is to allow a pre-existing 31-foot by 15-foot pole building that was built without the benefit of permits to maintain a 1-inch setback from the main dwelling in violation of Section 15.02 C5, which requires a minimum separation of 10 feet between accessory structures and a dwelling, a rear yard setback of 4.5 feet in violation of Section 15.03 G, which requires a minimum separation of 5 feet between an accessory structure and the rear property line, and a side yard setback of 2.5 feet in violation of Section 15.03 F3, which requires a minimum separation of 5 feet between an accessory structure and the side property line.
Okay, again, there's no error in our zoning inspector requiring a variance for this, so I understand that somebody remotely is here to speak in favor of the request?
Chairman, doesn't everyone have to be sworn in?
Well, he will, yeah, Jason will swear him in if he's going to speak.
As
They come in, that's a good idea. Mr. Henna, are you there? Is it,
Hema. Jay?
Yes.
you want to swear him in then, Jason?
Yeah, sure. I trust you're doing it because you're on the phone, but can you just please raise your right hand? And do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Jay, were you able to hear Jason?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to make shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Jay, are you there?
Yes. Yeah,
Are-
I'm here.
Can you hear our attorney trying to swear you in?
No, I don't hear the attorney for swearing me. No.
Okay, can you hear me now, Jay?
Yes.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Henna, if you'd like to go ahead and explain what your intentions are here. I know the building is already there, and we've we've done some questioning of how it got there, the actual location of it, and you had to do some more investigation as to where your rear and side yard lines were. So go ahead and explain again what you're trying to do here. Mr. Henna? Hello? Jay?
Yes,
Can you hear me? This is the chairman. I'd like you to explain what you're trying to get here with your variance, just so everyone understands.
okay, it looked like if I tried to do the variance for the, by mistake, I don't took the permit somehow, I asked for paper and trail, and I tried to put in the storage for my rental property, that's why I built up that building for the garage, for the, just putting my stuff, looks like, little thing, plumbing stuff, and a little stuff over there.
Have you acquired a building permit yet for that?
No, not yet. But I gotta do that. I apply for that.
Okay.
Mr.
So if you
Chairman,
guys
Yes.
approval, then
I
I
did
have to go
advise
to
the applicant not to seek a building permit
Until he got the variance. Okay.
until he knows whether or not he would be able to obtain a variance.
Okay, so this is not a new situation to this board. I think this is about the second or third time we've reviewed this. The fire chief looked at it, didn't have any concerns about it. Any other, Mr. Henna, do you have anything else to add at this point? Mr. Henna, do you have anything else to add at this point? I'm assuming no. Is there anyone else to speak in favor of what he's trying to do on case 21 BZA 01? Anyone to speak against it? All right, I'm sure there might be some other questions from the board. I'm not sure, but maybe.
Well, Mr. Chairman, one question, I guess, with regard to a building permit. So should we approve the variance request, that would be pending an approval of a building permit, correct? Or do we need to stipulate that in the variance request?
No, so what the board is considering is the variance request only and the distance from that side rear yard and the main dwelling. The building itself, if he isn't able to obtain a building permit for this specific building, but chooses to meet building code for a new building or a pole building, the variance that is approved tonight with the setback, the variance from the setbacks would still be applicable for any new accessory structure that he would intend to erect.
Okay, just to clarify, all we're looking at is the 1 inch from the house and from the side and rear yard. Any other questions from the board?
Can we put a condition on it that it be with the building, that these or this variance coincides with a building that passes a permit, that's built properly?
I think what we say is that the variance is granted given that he gets a building permit for this building or for a future building. That's what you're saying, is that correct? The building permit has to be approved by the building department, issued by the building department and approved.
Yes, but ultimately that would be overextending our authority because at the end of the day, enforcing building code
Right.
right belongs to the county. So placing a condition that the county follow through with their procedures, from my understanding, would be sort of overstepping our bounds.
Right.
So, just from the zoning office standpoint, I would ask the board to consider the size and location of the structure and not the way that the structure has been built in itself.
Okay. And so if he gets a building permit for what he has, he's okay to go if we give him a variance.
Yes, and if the building department decides that what was built doesn't meet code, it would be the building department's
Gotcha.
job to ensure that it's corrected.
Okay. So again, our board, we're looking at just the how close he is to his existing structure and his rear and side lot lines. So are there any other questions, any other comments? Would someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance as requested in 21 BZA-01.
I will second that.
Okay, Rachel, motion has been made and second. If you'll call the roll, please.
Okay, Dale Lewis,
No.
Ken,
No.
Randy,
No.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
and Chairman.
I'd have to say no. Okay. Okay. Jay, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's the fact that you built that so close to the house without getting a variance request or a permit is just not to the liking of this board, but from what I'm seeing here. So, all right, let's move on to case 21 BZA 05. Rachel, if you would please read that.
Applicants August and Mary Ann Landsman submitted a conditional use application for property located at 1100 Madison Avenue. The request is a conditional use permit pursuant to requirements as contained in section 31.03A1 and 12.05T for the keeping of hens. The applicant is requesting that the husbandry of a total of 15 hens be permitted.
Okay, again, I find no error in our zoning inspector requiring a conditional use permit for this. Is there someone to speak in favor? I believe Mrs. Lindeman is up on the screen.
Hello, this is Mary Landsman.
Okay. Landsman, couldn't read it right. Go ahead, tell us what you have in mind, Mrs. Landsman.
Well,
Let me get her sworn in.
Oh, yeah, you got to
I-
get sworn, never mind, sorry.
oh,
Before you do, do you swear or affirm that the statement you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I'm sorry, I can't hear anything.
You might have muted it. These are new microphones. One quick press. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the statement you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. So, Mrs. Landstrom, if you want to go ahead and explain what you're proposing to do here?
Well, I have chickens. I've had chickens for about 8 years now. Honestly, I had no idea that I wasn't supposed to have chickens. And I even had talked to Gabe Chickanetti when he was running, and I showed him my whole setup, and he spent a lot of time, with me and my chickens, and so I really had no idea. And how I found out that I wasn't allowed to have chickens here without a permit, one of my neighbors, kind of kitty corner across the street, had filed a complaint. Her name's Kirsten, very, very nice lady. We're okay. But she had filed a complaint because I had 4 roosters, and then I had a 5th one dumped on me. And I always I like to have 1 rooster. I always have. But they got out of hand because when my hen had hatched chicks, I didn't know they were going to be roosters, and it takes about 4 months to really find out if they're hens or roosters or not. So they were very noisy, and it's cute because the day she called and filed the complaint, I finally was able to get somebody to come at 5 o'clock that same night and process those roosters for me, and we give them away. We give them to people to because I can't eat my babies. But anyway, she had the reason she filed the complaint, and I didn't know anybody even lived at the house because no one has come and go for like 6 years, and it turned out she had a really bad brain aneurysm, and so noise is very sensitive, and so she with her insomnia, she finally gets to sleep about 5 o'clock, and anybody that's ever been raised on a farm knows that the roosters go off at 5 o'clock. Even with the time change, they go off at 5, and it can be very annoying when you have so many. But I've always tried to be a good neighbor, and I've always tried to keep my, chickens under control. Several of my neighbors have had chickens. And until I had gotten the letter from the township, I didn't know that I was out of compliance. But I've done everything that I've needed to do. My $100, my fee. Now, last year I paid $100 because the gentleman from the county that I talked to, he wasn't sure how much the amount was and knew that it was at least $100. So I paid the 100 at that time, and then I had to file relationship to where the coop is to our business, how many feet, just every little detail. And I had done that last year. I submitted everything, I think in June. And then I never heard anything after that. So my ignorance, I didn't check, and I take responsibility for that, but I didn't hear anything. So I just figured that, the case was over and I was good. And then, I found out later that they had never got the paperwork, and we had to refile everything. And in the meantime, I want to thank Harley because she was a really big help in helping me get all this straightened out. I couldn't have done all this without her help. And I'm in compliance. I have more than enough room. I normally don't have 15 chickens. I like to keep my chickens to about 8. I have a gentleman that takes any, if my hens have babies, he'll take the babies. But right now, I haven't had a rooster, I think since last April or May. I can't even remember when all the roosters left here. So I'm roosterless. So now my hens can't make any more babies, but I had it arranged in the past that he would take my extra babies, or we would just get them processed and donate the meat. But with COVID, I had a really hard time finding somebody that I could get them processed at that time. So I kind of was stuck with them until, I finally was able to get rid of them.
Okay, anything else?
You want, and I'll answer as best I can.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Landstrom?
So you have no roosters now?
Oh, no. I haven't had roosters since the day of the complaint.
Okay.
And when the complaint came, and I actually talked to the gentleman from the county, I let him know that I was having a guy come at 5 to do the roosters. I was gonna keep my one rooster because I love to have a rooster because they're really important. They find food. They're the ones that build the nests. But I went ahead out of courtesy because I didn't know that my neighbor had a brain condition. I went ahead and got rid of all of them, and I
Right.
haven't had a rooster since.
Okay,
Now
so
I have neighbors that have roosters, but I do not.
Okay, so you do not plan on having a rooster?
No, I would love to have a rooster, but I think because of what happened, and I still have my neighbor, and she still has brain issues. I don't. I'd rather have a nice neighbor than
Right.
I don't want to make my neighbors angry, and and a lot of my neighbors enjoyed the rooster crowing in the morning because it would get them up for work. But I just had this one that, and I understand if I had insomnia and the rooster would get off, I don't know why she didn't come over and kill it because they do make a lot of noise at 5 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question on the conditional use permit application. As you mentioned, no roosters, but 15 hens, but the proposed use for the proposed conditional use is for poultry husbandry. And pardon my ignorance with roosters and hens, but wouldn't that include a rooster at some point?
Oh, no. And I'm having a hard time hearing you. Can you please ask me that again?
I'm sorry, and again, pardon my ignorance, but the proposed conditional use being poultry husbandry makes me think there's a rooster, and maybe I'm way off, so I apologize for my ignorance, but do you plan on, with husbandry in the proposed conditional use, will there be a rooster present at any point in time?
No, not any.
We lost her.
More. And chicken keeping. I've been doing this. I'm 59 years old, and I've been doing this since I was 5 years old. And I don't know what husbandry is. I don't even know what that means. I just want to provide eggs for my family, and I feed. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feed 7 neighbors, and we have 8 children that are married and gone. I feed their families. My hens, they lay anywhere from 10 to 12 eggs every day. I have 3 old ladies that are getting ready to retire, and they're going to go to Bob Bowman. He's another resident in Painesville Township, and he takes all my old hens and, anything they service me so well. I can't bring myself to eating them. So I only process the roosters, but going forward with what all this just happened, I'm never going to have another rooster here again. I just want nice eggs for my family. My eggs are organic. I use no pesticides. It's all organic feed. Plus, I like them because they eat ticks. One chicken can eat about 300 ticks a day.
Good.
So I like them, around the yard because my grandchildren play. And I do let my chickens out of the pen about 7 o'clock at night, and I bring them to the front yard so they can just kind of police the area. And then I put them right back in. Well, actually, they go back in on their own. Chickens will go right back to the coop about 20 minutes before dark.
Thank you for that explanation. Mr. Chairman, do we need to stricken husbandry from the request because specifically husbandry involves breeding?
I'm not sure how the zoning resolution is written. Is that implied?
Poultry husbandry, poultry and fowl husbandry are the way that we define keeping chickens, whether they're hens and or roosters, in our zoning ordinance, or resolution rather.
When we've done these variants for the chickens in the past, we usually specify no rooster in the variance.
Right.
So even if it's what it says, we can specify that.
That's why I think the zoning resolution just says husbandry, and it doesn't consider that as part of breeding chickens or.
Interesting. Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay. All right, is there anyone else to speak in favor of the request? Anyone to speak against? Any other questions from the board? So this is a conditional use permit. If someone would like to make a motion, I think we need to be sure that we include a couple things. First of all, the rooster, and then we're pretty specific about the requirements in section 3103. You might want to include, as long as they comply with our zoning resolution as far as fences and everything else that we're covered there.
May I speak?
Pardon?
May I speak?
Sure.
I'm in compliance with all my fencing, my gating, my measurements. My coop is actually big enough to hold more than I have, but only an idiot would have more than 15
I'm
chickens.
sure you are. We just want to put this in the conditional use permit. So
Okay.
if anything would ever happen, it's spelled out that this is the way it's supposed to be.
Right. And anybody there is more than welcome to come see my setup.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve
21 BZA 05 with the conditions of, 1, not being able to have a rooster. 2, to be in requirements for section 31.03A1 and 12.05T for the keeping of hens. And that's probably all the requirements.
And the time,
15.
And what?
the time, 5 years.
Oh, and for a 5-year period, please.
You want to add the 15 to it, I think,
Yeah, the number.
Dave. The number.
And also with the total number of hens being 15 and not to exceed.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Rachel, you want to read it back real quick before we vote?
Okay, no roosters. What was section?
31.03A1 and 12.05T.
12.05T.
Mm-hmm.
Total of 5 years, and then a total number of hens is 15 and no more than.
Not to exceed
Not to
15.
exceed.
Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded, if you'll call the roll.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dave Lewis,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. All right, she's already doing this, so we might as well journalize this just to make it simple. So if someone wants to make a motion to journalize this decision,
Go ahead, Ray.
I'll make a motion, we journalize case number 21 BZA-05.
Second?
Okay, Randy,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dale Lewis,
Yes.
and Chairman.
yes. All right, just for those on the zooming in and for those here, when we journalize a decision, what that does, normally we have to wait a month until the minutes are approved from this meeting. The minutes would be approved next meeting, that's when it become effective. But by us journalizing, it makes it effective right now, so we don't,
Thank
if
you.
somebody's in a hurry to do something, they request to have it journalized, okay? All right, so let's move on. Rachel, if you could read case 21 BZA 06.
Excuse me.
Okay, applicants Fred and Carol Cooper submitted a conditional use application for property located at 820 Madison Avenue. The request is to allow continuance of beekeeping activities that have been taking place on the property for several years. The request is to permit the existing 9 hives. Oh, no. There's a typo on my agenda.
Oh, here. Do you need the?
Where it starts, you're saying it starts over again?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
It's all right, we understand what it is.
Oh, yeah, okay. You want me to read it again?
No,
Okay.
we're good. All right, so, Jason, if you would swear, I think Mr. and Mrs. Cooper are here if they want to speak, if you would swear them, please.
Sure. If you guys could just stand for me, and then just raise your right hand. And do you swear or affirm that the statement you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so if you want to explain what you're doing there.
I've been raising bees for about 10 or 11 years, not knowing that you had to have a permit or anything like that. And when I called and asked, I was asking about a sign somebody gave me to put up, and I said, well, I have bees, is there anything that I have to have for them? And I was made aware that I was supposed to have a permit, which I didn't know. So what I'm looking for is to see if I can continue to do what I'm doing. One thing that is different is I had a swarm, a hive swarm. I caught it, so now I have 10. Not, I mean, I don't have any intentions of having any more than that, but if something like that happens, rather than have the bees fly away, I'll catch them, but hopefully I'll never have more than 10. I don't. 9 is what I'm looking for, but I do have 10 at the present time.
So would you like to change this request to not to exceed 10?
Exactly.
We can put that in the conditions.
Also, does it matter that my name is misspelled?
Yes.
For mine, I think there's an E on the end of Cheryl, and I don't know for legality reasons if that matters.
No, that's a typo on our part, and that wouldn't hinder you from being able to.
Okay.
Also, we'd like to request, that rather than 5 years, we have a 10-year extension. We are senior citizens, and $200 is a lot on our income. So if you want to consider, because I was under the impression that it's a 5-year.
5 years is the maximum that we can do, and I just checked with our zoning inspector. The fee for renewal after 5 years is 100 for a resident, not 200.
All right.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I just would like to continue. I think it's good for the environment and everything.
We do have a letter that was sent in from our neighbors, from Mike and Kathy Iovine, saying, I don't know if you guys all got a copy.
I don't think we've got letters, do we? If you want to just read a couple of those real quickly.
Sure, her letter, she did send it, she sent me a copy of the email, she sent it.
Yeah, she sent it to me.
Yeah.
I received it, and if I did not forward it, I apologize. I'm hoping I did. I may not have. And
If
I
you don't have to
apologize.
read the whole letter, you just have to state their name and address and say that they don't have a problem with what you're doing.
Okay, their names are Michael and Catherine Iovine, and they're at 800, no, 840.
I think it's 840. That's what it says in the packet, 840. 840.
Oh, 840, okay.
Yep.
So they're next door, and they did say that, you know, they love the bees. It says, the neighbors have been Pearl Cooper for over 3 years, all of which be keeping activities on their property are of no consequence or concern to us, nor any of our guests. The bees are well provided for, well taken care of, and the property is in pristine condition. Bees find themselves in all sorts of places, and we have deep learned to be able to identify honeybees from other sources because of our neighbors' beekeeping activities. Find the honeybees, find their way onto our property, are docile by nature compared to other types, and then we go on to see something.
Okay,
And
great.
I did check, before I started beekeeping, I checked with all the neighbors around before I did anything. They were all happy with it, and a couple of them have changed. And I checked with the new ones, and everybody is very happy with it, and they don't bother anybody, so if that has anything to do with it.
And Fred belongs to the Geography Keepers Association. He also is registered with the state of Ohio, and we had Ohio State University on to check it because of the oral night. But to check, we had an infestation and something else. So, you know, we're not trying to hide anything.
Sure. I wish you were my neighbor, then maybe I could have apples on my trees.
Well, you know, we can go back over there.
All right, anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against? Any questions from the board? I don't know if everyone got a chance to visit the property out there, but it's pristine, very attractive piece of property, and
I have pictures of it.
the bees are well kept.
I have pictures in my eyes.
Okay.
They're good for the environment, the neighborhood, because uptown says, you know, get pollination, we don't have pollination.
Yeah. All right, would someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve case number 21 BZA 06 with one of the conditions being that it is limited to 10 hives total. And that would be for a period of 5 years.
Okay, anything else?
I'll second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Rachel, if you call the roll, please.
Okay, that was not to exceed more than 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And a total of 5 years. Okay. Dale Lewis,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay.
I have one question. After the 5 years, do we have to just, call this?
Do they get notification that it's expired?
Yes, we're actually working on a new notification system for this very reason, so you, in 5 years, this should be up and running, will receive notification that it's coming up for expiration.
So I just want to make sure.
Sure. very good. And you're already doing it, so let's have a motion to journalize this decision.
I'll make a motion, we journalize 21 BZA 06.
I'll second.
Okay, Ken?
Yes.
Lindros?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Dale Lewis?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much, I appreciate it. And now, will we have to come here in 5 years, or just
No.
come up here and pay the, will we have to go through?
Not unless there's complaints or something, the way I understand it. It's just,
Yeah, the next go-around will be much simpler. You won't have to attend the meeting as long as there's, your bees don't attack anybody viciously. Yeah, there should be no reason, there should be no reason for you to need to attend a public hearing again.
yeah, just so you know, after our public hearing tonight, we open a regular meeting. We've got a list of conditional use permits that are expired, so we just formally go through, and if there's been no problem, we just renew them. So that's the situation you'll be in.
You're all welcome to stop by and see our fire safety device.
Okay. Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you.
All right, Rachel, if you would please read case 21 BZA 07, please.
Okay, applicant John Betcher filed a variance application for property located at 1606 Madison Avenue. The request is to allow a 32-foot by 40-foot accessory building built without the benefit of permits to remain on the property unaltered. The subject property also has a legal non-conforming 24-foot by 40-foot detached garage on the property. The request total square footage of all accessory structures on the property is 2,240 square feet in violation of section 14.02C4, which provides that the total square footage of all accessory buildings on an R1 property shall not exceed 875 square feet.
Okay. I don't find any error in our zoning inspector requiring a variance. I do have a quick question before we talk to Mr. Betcher and swear him in. How are we finding these now? Is it just because there's another application coming in and we go out and find this now?
In some circumstances, there's a complaint on a property and we discover that something was built without a permit. In this instance, what had happened was we received a complaint about commercial activity taking place on the property, specifically semi-trucks and larger equipment like that on the property. And upon investigation, it was discovered that an accessory structure that was previously applied for with the intent to apply for a variance was now on the property, and this was discovered by Rich initially. And it just sort of continued from there, but this stems from a complaint regarding commercial activity, which I have not since observed taking place.
Okay. All right, so at this point, Jason, I believe, is this Mr. Betcher that's up on the screen here?
Yeah.
Mr. Betcher, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, so Jason, if you would like to swear him in?
Hey, John, can you just raise your right hand for me, please? And do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Betcher, if you'll go ahead and explain what your plans are out there and how you got to where you are and what you want to do, please.
Okay, sir. First off, the 24 by 40 building was there when I purchased the property. That building's been there, at least to my knowledge, since 1985, per the old owner. Okay? There was a 24 by 40 block building there, and it was non-conforming. I believe it was built in the 60s, and it had fallen in disrepair, and I took it down. Needing the space, I built said building, 32 by 40.
All right, did you say the block building was taken down? Or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Did I miss
Yeah.
that?
There was an additional one.
No, you didn't miss that, sir. There was a block building, another garage on the property as you came down the driveway. It was right in front of you. I removed that building.
Okay, that building is gone, okay.
Yes, sir.
But not the one that's,
Not the one that was there before.
Did you say you removed 2 of the buildings and
No, sir, just one of them.
just one?
Yeah, the one fell in disrepair, and I didn't want to put the money into it.
no, that's still there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 32 by 40 foot one is one that you put on the property.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a lot of hobby.
So just to be clear, there were 3 and now there's 2, is that correct?
No, there was 2 at one time, and there's 2 now.
Okay, so you took one down and built one without a
Yes, sir,
permit. Okay.
absolutely, correct.
And explain again why you need all this space.
Well, I restore, I collect antique cars. I have been in construction for over 20 years. I do have a lot of tools, equipment. And remarking back about the activity of all the trucks, I did bring a lot of gravel in here, concrete, dropping off materials. It was pretty busy here for a while. Okay, so, and as somebody else pointed, I don't know who that was, pointed out that it's slowed down, and it has. So,
Now, was that just during the construction of the buildings, or were you bringing things in and sending it back out, or what? I mean, how long did the trucks coming and going take place?
oh my gosh, I would probably say for about 6 months. I had to put a base down for the building. As you guys all know, Madison Avenue, at least on my end, is pretty wet. And it took a while to build a suitable base for it.
So you weren't running any other business out there, you were just doing this for your own building?
Yes, sir. I mean, I do have a small construction business, me and sometimes a helper. But the reason for the building is actually I'm going to retire in a couple of years. And that is my hobby, is restoring cars.
Okay.
Classic cars, that is.
Did I understand that you had a permit requested? You had a permit requested and then didn't use it, or didn't apply for it, or what was the deal there?
No, sir. I had a permit and it was denied.
So you built it anyway?
Yes, sir.
I see.
And this is zoned R1 there, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Well, anyone else to speak in favor? Do you have anything else to say, Mr. Betcher?
Did the board get my letter or any of the pictures of my property?
Yeah, we've got pictures and we've got it in a file here, yeah.
Okay, well, I just hope that everybody had a chance to look at it. And I don't think it looks out of the ordinary in any sort. I think you should take into consideration of where my property's at in regards to the township. That's about it. Been a resident here for almost 22 years, so.
So I'm guessing why the permit was denied was because it was too large and you had to come before us to get that variance approved and then go back and get your permit, correct?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
That's correct.
So he didn't have the variance. And that was how long ago you did that?
Over 2 years ago. The building's been standing for almost 2 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone
It's
to,
o-
an-
It's actually over 2 years now.
all right, anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against the request? Any other questions from the board?
No, the only thing I would note is he does have over an acre of property there, so
Yeah, it's a big lot.
I don't really see as much an issue with the amount of outbuilding,
Yeah.
more the
Why was it denied?
form
the first
out,
time?
form over
It was denied
practice
because he
type
didn't
thing.
have the variance in place before, just like this henna.
Oh,
That's why it was
the
denied.
building permit was denied.
Because he didn't have the variance to put it up because of the size. Okay, any other questions from the board? Someone like to make a motion, please?
So, are we, are we, are we like before, like the one on Oakwood or whatever that was? Are we just trying to approve the variance and not the building that's up already?
Well, from what I understand, there's no variance required for the buildings as far as setbacks or anything else. He just needs a variance because he has 2,240 square foot, and he's only allowed 875 square feet
So we're
about
just
buildings.
approving the extra square footage?
Extra square footage, correct.
Harley, is he gonna have to, what about did he ever have a building permit?
No, the building department would have required zoning approval, proof of zoning approval prior to issuing a building permit. So he will have to go through the building
He will need to do
department
that.
and get the building permit approval as well.
Now, is that something that you will enforce? Because you say we can't make that a condition on the variance.
No, once the variance approval, if the variance is approved, I would forward the documents to Roseanne at the building department and make her aware of the situation, that
Okay.
he obtained his variance approval, but he needs to obtain his building permits.
I would like to see that happen. I just have a problem with someone not getting denied a building permit and building it anyway, you know? So now he'll have to go to the building department and get a permit. Okay, is that clear to everybody? All right, so if someone would like to make a motion, if there's no other questions,
Is this the second one, this one with us?
that's, yeah,
Containers?
that's a whole different, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve 21 BZA 07 as requested.
I'll second that motion.
All right, Rachel?
Randy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Dale Lewis,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we might as well journalize it because they're already there. Maybe it'll expedite his movement towards the building department here.
I'll make a motion that we journalize case number 21 BCA-07.
I'll second.
Rachel?
Okay, Ken,
Yes.
Dale Lewis,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay, Rachel, if you would now read 21 BZA 08, please.
Okay, applicant John Betcher filed a variance application for property located at 1606 Madison Avenue. The request is to allow 3 8-foot by 40-foot shipping containers, a total of 960 square feet, to be used as accessory structures on the property, bringing a total proposed square footage of all accessory structures on the property to 3,200 square feet, in violation of section 16.18, which provides that shipping containers shall not be considered temporary portable storage units and shall not be utilized as an accessory building, and in violation of section 14.02C4, which provides that the total square footage of all accessory buildings on an R1 property shall not exceed 875 square feet.
Okay, if I know error in our zoning inspector requiring a variance, now, Jason, he's already been sworn, so we're okay?
Yeah, just a reminder, John, you're still under oath.
You get that, John? You're still under oath?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if someone, tell us what you want to do with these containers.
And, you know, at this point, they're just storage right now. I had two parents pass pretty close to one another. They were divorced. They had separate households. I have a lot of antiques in there, you know, furniture, things like that. You know,
Are you looking for these to be permanent, or are they just there for a short time?
no, not permanent at all, just for a short time. I plan on using them. I purchased property in Ashtabula County, and I'm planning on moving them there as soon as I, you know, get rid of everything that I have in there.
Do you have a date you would like to have until a certain date to move them? Like, how long are you thinking you're gonna need them on property?
You know, a couple of years.
So 2 years,
Yes, sir.
not to exceed 2 years?
Yes, sir, that would be wonderful.
All right, anyone, you have anything else to add? Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone else to speak against? Questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
what do you have stored in them? You might have said, but I couldn't understand what you were saying.
Furniture, antiques, household goods, things of that nature.
Tell me again what's in your other 2,240 square foot of outbuildings. It's a considerable variance right there for an R1 lot.
Understood. There's classic cars in there, equipment. I have a tractor in there. Not like a garden tractor, you might say. Basically a farm tractor with a bucket on it. Just everyday, normal things, as far as garden equipment, stuff like that.
Okay. My opinion is you're kind of pushing the envelope, not kind of pushing the envelope, you're pushing the envelope for an R1 piece of property, a residential neighborhood. You're trying to get up to 3,200 square foot of storage space. That's like 300, 400% more than you're supposed to have. But that's my vision here, so. You say temporary, our zoning resolution counts these metal containers as temporary portable storage. I'm not sure what the intent of the zoning board is when they say temporary. I don't know if they mean 2 years is temporary. To me, that seems like way more than temporary. That's something for the board to consider. So if anyone else has any questions? Someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve BZA case number 21 BZA 08 with the condition of the 3 containers not to exceed 2 years on the property.
Can we do that on a variance?
I believe so, the board has before, but ultimately that is a question for Jason. I feel confident that the board has the authority to place conditions on a variance approval, but I'm not Jason.
I don't think this comes under the thing.
Yeah, no, you can do a temporary variance.
Okay. All right, so you made the motion.
Yes.
Okay, is there any discussion, or does someone want to second it?
I'll second.
Okay, and that was 3 containers and not to exceed 2 years.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, Dale Lewis,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Randy,
No.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Chairman.
No. Okay, so you have passed this with a majority vote, 3-2, but we'll just leave it at that. Does someone want to make a motion to journalize this, please?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Rachel, if you'll call the roll, please.
Okay, Dale Lewis,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. All right, so Mr. Betcher, you realize that 2 years from today, those containers need to be gone off that property, okay?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay, all right. All right, let's move on to 21 BZA 09. Rachel, if you would please read, please.
Okay, applicants Megan and Arthur D. Alessandro filed a variance application for property located at 536 Birkdale Court. Did I say that right? Circle, sorry. The request is to allow construction of an 18-foot by 16-foot deck with a rear yard setback of 31 feet in violation of Section 32, which requires a minimum rear yard setback of 35 feet.
Okay, I find no error in our zoning inspector requiring a variance. So at this time, if you're here to speak, we'll let our attorney swear you in, please.
Arthur? Yeah. Just raise your right hand, please, and Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Hey, it's nice to have someone in person.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
first-
you,
first one in a
Mr.
long
Chairman
time.
and members of the board. Yes, my name is Michael Murray, and I'm an attorney. I represent the applicants. I have the good fortune of Arthur being my son-in-law, and he's married to my daughter. So they built a house in Meadows at Fairway Pines number 2 a few months ago. Ryan Homes, it's a nice new development. I'm sure you've seen it. And so they wanted to build a deck attached to the rear of the house. The topography is such that it really slopes down. They thought about a concrete patio, but you just couldn't do it without spending a fortune. So the alternative, the economic alternative, was to build a deck. And it's not a large deck. It's 18 feet wide, which isn't the issue. It's only 16 feet in depth. And when you look at the drawing of the lot and you see the outline of the deck, you can see that only a very small portion of the right corner goes beyond the 35-foot setback. And an even smaller portion of the left corner goes slightly beyond the 35-foot setback. The vast majority of the deck is within the setback. The problem is that they're a cul-de-sac lot, and so the shape of the lot, obviously, you can see is irregular, and because it's a rectangular deck, that's why these little corners creep out a little bit. But as I said, the vast majority is within the 35-foot setback, and it's not a large deck. They've already spent some money with Lowe's as a down payment on it. Now, I think the thing that might be most important is that when you look at the lot itself, behind the lot, there's a common area, and then you'll see some photographs attached to their application that shows an environmental protected area. No house can be built behind them within any of that common or environmentally protected area. The environmentally protected area itself is like 120 feet deep. And so any house that is built behind their lot will be at least 150 feet from the rear of the deck that they're trying to put up. And so the purpose of the rear setback will certainly be served by virtue of the fact that that environmental area will guard against any house being close. And therefore, it seems to me that the 35-foot setback, which we're only asking to be varied by a relatively small amount on the two corners, we think it would certainly be appropriate because of the hardships that we've described to grant the variance. And if we were fortunate enough to obtain your vote on that, we would urge you to journalize it today so that they could build it before the summer is over and get some enjoyment out of it.
Great.
And that's, any questions we'll be glad to answer.
I think it's pretty straightforward. Anyone, do you want to add anything? I don't think there's anyone here that wants to speak against, because I don't see anyone else here.
It's just nice that you came before you built it.
Yeah, this is unusual.
Yeah, this makes it easy.
All right, so any questions from the board? Someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve 21 BZA 09.
I'll second the motion.
All right, Rachel, motion's been made and seconded.
Okay, Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dale Lewis.
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay, now let's have a motion to journalize this decision.
I'll make a motion to journalize 21 BZA 09.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Okay, Ken,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dale Lewis,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay, good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
One question for you off the record, is this pro bono? All right, you bet. Okay, with that, we'll close the public hearing and move on to Opening the regular meeting, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from last month? Dale, you weren't here. Someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from last month as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Rachel?
Okay, so, I'm sorry,
Randy.
who motion?
Randy.
Randy, and who seconded?
I did.
Okay, Randy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
and
Sure.
since
Dale was not here,
Abstain.
so,
Abstain, okay. And Chairman.
yes. Okay. All right, so with that, we'll move on to old business, which we have none according to my sheet. And with new business, we've got a number of conditional use permits we need to look at for renewal. So if, Rachel, if you would like to read case 10 BZA 07R21.
Okay, applicant True North Energy LLC submitted an application for a conditional use permit renewal on behalf of Shell Mart for property located at 1150 Bank Street. The request is for a 5-year renewal of the existing conditional use permit to operate a gas station and convenience store. Original conditions are as follows. Once the lighting is in place, any lighting issues will be addressed between the residents and the owner. The term will be for 5 years. The issuance?
Yeah.
The issuance of the permit is based on the purchase, consolidation, and rezoning of the property at 819 Liberty Street.
And I would ask our zoning inspector, have there been any complaints or anything over the last 5 years?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any discussion? Someone like to make a motion to renew this for probably another 5 years?
I'll make the motion that we renew case number 10 BZA 07R21 for a period of 5 years.
I will second that.
Rachel?
Okay, Randy,
Yes.
Dale Lewis,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. These decisions don't need to be journalized, do they, on a renewal?
No.
Okay. All right, Rachel, if you could now read case 15 BZA 18R21.
Okay, applicant Zappatelli Enterprises, say Inc. or
Mhm.
INC?
Mhm.
Submitted an application for a conditional use permit renewal on behalf of Digging Dogs for property located at 1890 Menor Avenue. The request is for a 5-year renewal of the existing conditional use permit to operate an instructional facility for dog owners and dog professionals.
Okay, again, I'm going to ask if there's been any complaints. This
No,
is the
Mr.
one
Chairman.
right over here on the other side of Hellriggles?
Honestly, I didn't even know this existed until this
I remember
renewal.
when they, yeah, I remember when they bought the whole place over there.
Bob Zappatelli.
Yeah, they bought that strip mall and they developed it and did a nice job with it.
Did you, by the way, did you hear about Bob Zappatelli? He got hit by a car crossing from St. Gabe's over to the planning center Friday night. He got life flighted.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's in that area.
Oh, jeez. That'll change that stuff. Mm. Well, I hope I'll have to check with, I know his sister-in-law. She runs the wine store now.
Oh, okay.
She lives behind us. I'll have to
Yeah,
check
I
with
heard
her.
he was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah,
I have family that got hit there 10 years ago.
He was he wasn't in a car, he was walking.
just walking, yeah.
They were walking through.
Jeez.
Okay. All right, does someone want to make a motion to approve the renewal of this conditional use permit, please?
I'll make a motion to renew the conditional use permit 15 BZA 18R21.
I'll second.
Okay,
Great.
Ken,
Yes.
Dale Lewis,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay, last but not least, case 16 BZA 09R21. If you could read that for us, Rachel.
Applicant
Leiden.
Lyden Woodworking LLC submitted an application for a conditional use permit renewal for property located at 20 Bohall Road. The request is for a 5-year renewal of the existing conditional use permit to operate a woodworking shop. Previous conditions are as follows. Hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to noon on Saturdays. Operator will mitigate,
Mitigate.
Mitigate.
Newest,
Nuisance.
nuisances, as described in section 22.02E, upon notice of complaints. Permit is issued for a 5-year term.
Okay, again, no complaints, or yes?
It's actually really interesting. There was a feud going on between him and the people that lived on the corner of Madison and Bohol. But Leiden kept calling me after submitting the renewal, concerned that he would have to do a public hearing for reasons I have not discovered. So it seems like he might have been doing something, but he has not been.
Well, you haven't been called out on any complaints?
No, I have not.
He's the one building the picnic tables and everything there.
Tables and-
Yeah, I remember when he,
That's right on Madison
I
and.
remember when he first applied for this.
And I think he's behind,
Yeah, he's
not the one at,
This is behind the house.
behind the house.
Yeah.
Not the guy with the picnic tables on the corner, but the one
Oh, behind.
opposite side behind that big house that just got redone.
Oh, okay, I know where that is, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's almost, it's like a commercial structure. That's almost what it looks like.
So is the feud with the guy with the picnic tables?
No,
Is it with the people in the house?
the people in the house, but I believe they just recently sold it.
Yeah, because something's been going on there when they go by.
Yeah. But as far as complaints regarding the use that the conditional use permit was issued for, I have not received anything directly.
Well, the way the conditional use permit is, if there is a complaint, then he has to do what it takes to mitigate the nuisance. So I would recommend that we go ahead and pass it for 5 more years. Someone wants to make the motion?
I'll make the motion to approve 16 BZA 09R21 for the amount of 5 years.
I'll second.
Rachel?
Okay, Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Dale Lewis.
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. All right, with that, we are finished with our meeting. We'll adjourn this. Thank everybody for coming. I know quite a booklet for the